Have you ever felt like there was something missing in your business? Something holding you back from the success you're seeking? If so, you are not alone. For nearly 20 years, that's exactly how I felt as a business owner. It wasn't until I discovered human design that it all became clear. And it turns out that I was the missing piece in my own business. Join me on this journey of discovering the real me and hear stories from other business owners building businesses around all of their awesomeness. I'm Yong Pratt, and it's time, my friend, to amplify your awesome. Welcome back to the Amplify Your Awesome podcast. I am so glad you are tuning in today because today's guest is someone that I've connected with a couple times before, and every time we connect and chat, there's this inspiration that happens. And I cannot wait to introduce you to Tammy Pereira, who actually has been on the show before. So let me tell you a little bit about Tammy. Tammy has been in marketing for over 20 years, which is an amazing feat to be in one particular industry for that long. In that time, though, she has morphed and changed and now really focuses in on Facebook ads. But she is definitely more than just a Facebook ads expert. She is also helping people in the corporate space with their marketing and advertising consulting. And she's a strategist, she's a speaker, she's an online business owner who definitely practices what she preaches. Tammy, I'm so glad you're back for another interview here on the podcast.
I'm happy to be here, Yong, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. You're amazing too, so amazing.
Yeah. My pleasure. So Tammy, can you take us back, because you've been in business for a very long time and you've done different things in this realm. Can you take us back to the beginning of your story about, why you chose to be an entrepreneur and what that has looked like for you?
Yeah, actually, I want to go a couple years back because for me, it was really what I've been thinking about most recently over the past weeks and months is kind of my step into the online space, because as you said, I'm not new to marketing and advertising, definitely not. I pretend like I am younger than I am. Don't tell anybody. You pretend. And but yeah, it was an interesting journey even coming in from working. I was working in advertising. I've been also working as a corporate consultant with marketing teams and things like that. And when I started to see other opportunities and specifically started to kind of dip my toes into the online space, I started to realize that it's a whole nother world out here. Like it's a whole nother world. And it was almost like learning a whole nother language. And so it was an interesting journey because I was unaware even of how to market my business in the online space versus corporate. It's a totally different world. But I'm so grateful that I have done that because I've really worked to make my business successful, and especially over the past year. So I'm excited about that, but I'll take you back a little bit. This is going to be funny, but when I came into the online space, I was on Pinterest. This is like my point of entry, I would say way back in 2016, Yong. So I think it was 2016, pretty sure. I went on Pinterest, and Pinterest told me that I needed to blog every day in order to build a successful online business, for real. And so that was like the advice that I did 4 years ago. So I think I went through about 100 blog posts and I was like, this is exhausting. This is not for me. And this is not really working. So there's got to be something else out here that I'm not seeing. I don't know. Like I wanted to figure it out. I felt like for some reason I had this calling, for whatever reason, I can't even explain it. But to kind of shift my business a bit, and I didn't know exactly why. And so I joined a mastermind. I actually was in this kind of digital marketing mastermind because at the time I considered myself a digital marketer. I was just doing digital marketing. I was filling in that gap for marketing people, for marketing teams in corporate. So I was like, okay, yeah, I could call myself a digital marketer. And I joined some different groups. I joined some masterminds. I joined some courses, things like that. And I started to realize that this is great. And there's like a whole nother world that I definitely want to jump into. I was really started to be interested. I really started to see kind of where this could go, where this could take me. And one of the things that was really, it's so basic, but it is also about creating content. And it's always also about um, using the skills that we already have, is I had something to say. And a lot of us I know are experts and we have something to say. We have something to share. We have something that could help can help other people, right? Because everybody's at different stages along their paths, along their journey. And for me, I just started talking. And specifically, I wasn't super fancy about it, but I just started talking into my iPhone or onto my computer publicly. Not in public, but in the, like, on the computer, on my Facebook page. That's it. Or on the computer, not mostly on my personal profile because I was too shy. And a lot of people now are like, you were too shy. What are you talking about? You talk all day long. And I was shy because I was used to being this person that was behind the scenes. I was used to being this person that was not in the front, that I didn't know what that was like. And when I started to go on camera, so to speak, just in a small way, I found my voice. And so that was really, really instrumental for me, more so than blogging, was putting my face on camera, talking about something that I know, marketing, for 5 or 10 minutes. That's how it started for me. Simple as that. Not any more complicated than that.
Well, isn't it interesting that when we find these things in our lives, it usually is the simple things. It's not the things that are super complicated, because for me, when I switched from, brick and mortar business to online, everyone's like, oh, it'll be fine. It's all the same. But like you said, it's a different language. And, brick and mortar businesses have their work cut out for them, because not only do they have to do that, they also have to be really good at online marketing in order for the businesses to stand out in their particular areas. So yeah, it's the simple things that are usually the things that lead us to success the fastest and the most, I guess I'll say, easy. And I know in the digital world, the entrepreneur space, the word easy is not always one that people celebrate, because sometimes, we think, oh, it has to be complicated. We need a funnel. We need all these things with 55 steps, and everyone has to go through this way. And we're going to hide behind all of this technology. We're going to hide behind all of these things that we build, which are exciting because we build them. But then when you realize that, oh, gosh, all those years, it didn't have to be so hard. So I love that you made it simple. You just pulled out your camera and you just started talking. And that really kind of propelled this whole business of yours now, where you just got on camera. And I love it because you always have the pink headphones on. So I know you're very identifiable. But yeah, it is just those little baby steps. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be, a webinar right out of the gate. It can be 5 or 10 minutes. And then what Tammy can do with that on the back end, that's really where the magic comes in, because you just show up as yourself. And, then she takes it and makes sure that you have all the right people coming to watch your video and supporting you. So amazing. Simple is always best. Love it.
Yeah, and the other piece of it was talking and doing live video, but there was a piece there that it was me becoming unseen, me becoming, and people talk and throw around the word visibility a lot, but it really was that simple. And there was a thing of consistency. So I did decide that I was going to show up every single week. I didn't really set it as like, oh, I'm going to do this as a goal. It's just something that evolved over time, is that I enjoyed doing it. I didn't enjoy doing it when I first started. I was terrible at it, but I kept going with it. I can't tell you why. I just did. It was one thing that I was able to be very consistent with, where I would do one video a week, go show up live on my Facebook page, 5 or 10 minutes. And I would talk about what I already know. And I would do that one time a week, and I would do that one time a week, and I would do it consistently until I did it for a solid year. And that's how I started actually growing my business in the online space. It wasn't any more complicated than that.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Simplicity
Yeah.
and consistency. deciding, making a choice in the moment that I'm going to do this, and the way I'm going to do it is this. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm just going to go on camera and share. And I know video for a lot of people is daunting in the beginning. It was for me as well. And I shared with you before, Tammy, that for me to be here on video too, like it feels so natural and I have so much fun doing it. It's my favorite way to create content out of all of them. However, it's been a really long time in the making to get here. And the way it happened was to do it over and over again and to feel insecure about doing it, but then just saying, you know what? Okay, next time it's going to get better. And next time I'm going to get better. And you'll learn every time you do a video. And then to do a whole year being consistent on weekly video, that's a huge accomplishment. So if you're out there listening, thinking marketing is super complicated, take Tammy's words of advice to heart. Think about the simple. Think about the easiest path. What is the easiest way for you to let people know that you do awesome things and that they need to connect with you? I mean, that's all it took. And I love that. And to see the progress, because we've known each other now for a couple of years, I think. To see this transformation of, you just showing up in the beginning and now like you're rocking it. It's like, I mean, you're helping other people be seen now. Because you went out there, you were the scientist, you tested out what worked and what didn't work, and now you're giving your clients such huge results. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I love that. I love it. Yeah, it's great. And it really propelled me. It really was the catalyst, I guess would be the word. When I was dipping my toes in, I was a little scared, but I just did it. And I got so much encouragement from others to keep going as well. They would tell me that they watched my videos and things like that. And now it feels so natural to me to just come in and do a podcast with you. It feels natural to do a live video. I have interviews this week. I have presentations this week, and I just love it.
So good. And I think that part of the moment you get there in your business and you love what you're doing, that's when things get really, really fun because it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like you're playing and it feels like you get to show up as your real self. You don't have to hide behind anybody else or anybody else's rules. You just get to go out there and make your own rules. And that's really what this podcast this season is all about us being able to, as entrepreneurs, take the reins and say, you know what? Okay, I like these things over here, but like not everything on this list works for me. So to take the things that work for you, that serve you, and then leave out the rest. So if you're out there and you're someone like me who is a course junkie, I love learning, I love different marketing tactics and just learning about a lot of different things. I have a lot of courses, and I say that proudly now because now I know from each of those things, I gleaned at least one nugget that I have literally applied. It may not have been what they were promoting in the program, but I have gained something from every single investment that I've made. And I know, Tammy, you create a lot of courses and your courses are so fun, so full of value, and they're so actionable, which I love. I love courses where you can actually go in, do the thing, and then you see a result. So amazing. I want to commend you also for the courses you're creating because you're able to impact more people who may not be able to hire you one-on-one quite yet, but they have access to you in a different way that you can actually leverage that in your business.
Yeah, and I actually love creating courses as well. That was something that I started doing actually over the past year. And that was something that I realized, I used to be, this is another lesson actually I learned over the past year. I don't know if this will help anybody to say it, but I'm just going to say it, is I used to only believe that I could serve people on only the highest level. So this is kind of a bit of a, I don't know, mindset issue or limiting belief. Like I can only help them if I work with them one-on-one. And what I discovered, and it still comes back actually sometimes for me, although I still enjoy, I enjoy working with clients one-on-one, but I discovered that I also love creating courses. Mm-hmm. And this was this whole other thing that opened up for me this past year. And again, didn't plan for it, kind of stepped into it a little bit backwards, just like anything else, kind of going with, okay, let's see, I have this idea, I'm just going to put it out there. And so I truly love, one of the things that I love doing is I love creating. Like I have 8 ideas lined up already over the next, like, I can't stop coming up with ideas. So it's and I know that's a lot of entrepreneurs have that, but the difference for me over this past year was that I had a lot of ideas in the past as an entrepreneur, and I didn't actually do them. I didn't take the action. So I've broken it down recently into 3 parts. It's almost like the decision part. So for me, like deciding that I want to do a course, right? Like I like doing courses. I'm going to do courses. They help people enjoy them, right? And so once I got anchored into the fact that courses can help people, and that people can learn from me, and I enjoy teaching, and I enjoy people learning from me, then I will create the course idea. So it's sort of like deciding what it is that you want to do, and then creating, which I love creating, like literally I can't stop creating. And so whatever the idea is, I always have new things that came up with. I just came up with something new today. Always reinventing all these things. And so if you're a person that loves creating, then definitely this can work, and courses can work. And I still believe that there is a place for courses. I know people talk about the market saturated and all this stuff, but some people, they are busy. They, like you said, they don't have a ton of time. They don't have a ton, maybe they don't want to invest right in a kind of a bigger program, or maybe they don't have time, right? They just want to learn on their own, but they still want to learn. There's still a thirst for knowledge. There's a thirst to learn. Then you can still create these courses. And what I learned was that it's a way for people to come in and kind of experience a little of me, right? And experience kind of what I'm all about and how my perspective on teaching what I teach. The other piece, though, is that before I had all these ideas and I did not execute on the ideas. So what changed for me this past year, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, is that I actually took action. And I know that when we are creative people, when we are people that like to create, for me, when I create, it like comes from my heart. So it's like, I know what it is. It comes from my heart. I know that people are going to love it. But there's something about actually putting it out there, creating something and then saying, hey, people, do you want this thing that I created? And it's almost like it's an artistic thing, even though what I create is courses and quite, quote, practical, I guess, practical marketing advice. But yeah, there's something to creating something and then actually taking action and putting that thing, bringing it to life and having people experience it. So the big step for me this past year was actually the fact that I created courses, but I actually allowed myself to put them out there and allowed people to experience them by basically saying, hey guys, they're for sale. I created some things and here they are. Do you want them? And then people were like, yes. And I'm like, oh, well, why didn't I just do that before? Like,
I love that, Tammy. And I've been giggling throughout this process because you and I have talked off camera several times about this idea that we are compulsive creators, that we never stop creating, and to have these ideas. And, I'm sure people who are listening can relate to the fact that these ideas spring up and, sometimes inspiration hits us when we are least expecting it. And then we just don't know what to do with this thing. We think about it like, oh, that's a good idea. And then we talk ourselves out of doing it. So I love that your first step is making the decision that you were going to do this. Right? And then asking people if they're interested, and then taking action and making the thing and putting it out into the world where people can actually consume your information and get to know you and have a result in the process. I think that's such brilliant advice that you just have to decide. So if you have a course inside of you and you're thinking, oh, I would love to teach people this. People always ask me about doing this. What if you could do this? You go out there, you make a decision, you ask people if they're interested, you put the thing together, and then you offer it to the world. I mean, that coupled with just showing up and doing the thing, like the action piece, I think for a lot of us gets lost in the shuffle of the everyday to-do list. Like there's so many things that we're all doing every day, but to commit and then to take action. Amazing. I think you have summarized several different courses I've created or several different courses I've taken on creating courses and marketing courses. Like it really can be that simple. And I just, again, I'm going to come back to that word because in business, Yeah, it's almost a bad word to say simple or easy. But when you find the right things and you find the right tribe of people and you find this place where it feels like it's more fun, it doesn't feel like work, you're excited to get up every day, like, that's what business needs to be. And not everyone experiences that in the beginning. And, you've been on this road for a long time, as have I. And so finally to get here, 20 plus years later for both of us, and like, all those years of hustling and thinking we need to give in to the blogging every day and following all these rules, and this is the way to success, and if you do this you'll make $1 million. And that's never the case, because there's always a bit of disconnect in those scenarios about, ooh, I don't feel good about that part of it, or like, ooh, I don't want to do that. So when marketing can be fun, creation can be fun, and it's just joyful to have this business of yours, and you're eager to serve people. I mean, that's really what business, I would love that to be business for everybody, because it feels amazing.
Yeah, and I gotta say, with that last part of like people telling me what to do, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a rebel, and I'm a rule breaker. So when the people give me like a linear line to follow, it never works for me. So that was another thing that I discovered is I have to do it my way. And if it's somebody says you have to do these 8 things and 4 of those things don't feel aligned for me, I'm not going to do them. I don't care what they say. And like, you can make $1 million if you do these 4 things or 8 things, and I can only do 4 of them. It's actually me wanting to do it, because if we don't want to do it, then we're not going to do it. So there's many, like you said, there's many different ways to market a business. Many. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. It's really all the same. And I have so many of these discussions every day. But that is the point. I mean, actually, that's what I love about marketing and advertising, is that there are many ways to do it. Mm-hmm. And the point is we get to decide. So once I realized that piece was like, I don't actually need to follow anybody's advice, but I like this little advice over here and I like it over here, and I'm going to mix it up and I'm going to make it into my own recipe. Then it works for me. Then it all of a sudden started to work for me. And if somebody said to me, okay, in order to sell 80 of your courses, you need to post 8 times a day. And I don't want to post 8 times a day because that doesn't feel good to me, because I feel like I'm spamming people. Guess what? I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I'm just not going to do it. So that was a huge realization also for me this past year, I would say. I do things my way. Now, it's not like I'm not ever taking other people's advice, but when it comes down to it, I already know. It all comes from me, actually. It all comes from me. So I have to be the one that decides, like, this, I have to, I want to feel, it's not I have to, that is totally the wrong word. I want to feel proud about things that I'm creating, and I want to also, like, the way that I'm putting it out there, it can't feel icky to me. So again, it doesn't matter, because if I don't feel good about the way that I'm creating, if I don't feel good about the way that I'm marketing, it's just not going to happen for me. And so that was another big thing. And so many people come to me because I do some coaching and things like that. And they say, well, so-and-so told me I had to do it this way. And I'm like, do you want to do it that way? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you don't have to. You don't have to. Nobody says. And once I realized that that was the truth, my business just absolutely, it changed. It changed because every day I get to decide. Every day I get to decide. Every day could be a blank canvas. I could just decide, you know what, I'm going to do things completely different tomorrow, and that's it.
So good. So for all of you out there, you have been given permission to break the rules and do things your own way, and do them in a way that feels good, because sometimes I know I was that rule follower as a kid. I didn't ever want to break the rules. So when it came to thinking outside these boxes of do it this way, I had a really hard time with that, because I was like, ooh, I don't want to break the rules. But I think somewhere deep down for all of us, we all do know the way. We sometimes get in our own way and say, oh, that wouldn't work because of this, right? We put these excuses and these roadblocks, and I think we all do it. But as an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is really about taking these risks and doing these things and going out on there, jumping off the ledge and knowing that there's going to be a parachute, and saying, oh, awesome. Okay, I get to choose. I get to wear, the cap or whatever it is for you. Like that signifies like
Pink
you're in,
headphones.
yeah,
Pink headphones.
pink headphones. I love it. Yes, we all need a pair of pink headphones in our lives for sure. But yeah, knowing that at the end of the day, I think we all deep down know we just don't always take the time to stop and listen to what's is already inside us. And that
Mhm.
real us buried deep inside, it is now time. Like this year has thrown us for a lot of loops. It is time to dig down, grab out those big dreams, grab out those things you've been putting off and do them. And reach out to Tammy, reach out to me, you know, let us help you get to where you want to go, because it really is possible to build these amazing businesses that just feel amazing, that really shine the light on who we are as humans, how we can offer those things to the world. And since my background is in performing arts, I always think about, you mentioned earlier that even though what you do is not necessarily creative, it's a creative process to put all these things together. And I always think about everything that I do as choreographing, because it's no different than that. So the analogy of coming up with this idea, figuring out, okay, what do I need to make this idea work? How can I arrange it? Okay, I'll try it like this. Oh, well, that doesn't work. So let me rearrange these people on the stage or in the business or in the program. And then at the
Mhm.
end, you have this beautiful thing that has the capability and the ability to reach people at an emotional level where they feel things, where they are inspired to take action, where they're inspired just to go out there and really show up as their real selves. And that is definitely, such a great way to summarize this whole interview, Tammy, is being the real you is possible. We just need to be a little bit open to the possibilities of what we know is inside and allow those ideas to be brought into the world in any way that we can imagine them, because we get to make the rules. It is our business. Tammy, I want to make sure that people who want to know more about you and how you help people build businesses online using Facebook ads, where is
Yeah.
the best place for them to connect with you?
Yeah, the best place is in my group that is called, it's my free group. It's Facebook Ads for Women Entrepreneurs.
So good. And the name says it all. And I know you recently went through a name change, and this one is so spot on because it talks about exactly what you do and how you serve. And yeah, the women in there are always excited when you're in there doing your videos, showing up. You're always giving great value. And Tammy, I want to ask you one final question, and it's kind of a doozy. Are you ready for it?
Oh boy, let me prepare. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Tammy, what is your number one tip or piece of advice for everyone listening who's out there thinking, okay, I have a business or I have an idea for a business, but I don't know how to show up as the real me. How would you recommend that people find the real them so they can show up and amplify all the stuff that makes them awesome?
That's a really big question. Um, the thing is, the thing is, if you don't show up, you're not really bringing to life your gifts. And so I don't have a choice anymore in showing up. I don't. It's not something like, oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like getting out of bed today. I don't have a choice. Because if I don't bring my gifts, then I am not helping others and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. So I know that right now with what I do, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I've had all roads have led me to where I am right now. And it's sometimes listening. It's sometimes we know what those paths are. So if you're in a state of let's say, kind of, a lot of people, we use the term of like stuck, not sure where to go, whatever it is, fill in the blank. But deep down, we know where to go and what to do. And we know if there was path A or path B, which one feels better. And really it comes down to that. Like, which one would you rather do? It's not any more complicated than that. If somebody said to me, came out and said, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million if you go back into your corporate job, I would say no, because I don't want to do that. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to help women succeed in business.
So good. And again, I love that you brought it back to like the theme of this episode, simplicity. It doesn't have to be hard. And we stop ourselves by making it more complicated than it needs to be. If you can embrace the simplicity, listen to those inklings that come up sometimes, and you just, these ideas of inspiration, those are the things we need to be doing every day. And just to show up, because if you're not sharing your gifts fully with the people around you and helping them do whatever it is that you do, you're doing them a disservice. And if you can always come from that place of always wanting to serve and knowing that someone is missing out, someone's not accomplishing their goals, someone is not reaching their potential because you didn't show up, like, that's a big deal. It is a really big deal. We're all put on this planet for a reason. So when you can show up fully in that and serve and find joy and embrace the simple, that's the magic of being an entrepreneur. Tammy, I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing your wealth of knowledge. I really want to make sure people connect with you. I will put everything, or I'll put the link to your group in today's show notes, because yes, if they have an online business, you need to be in their lives. So I definitely want to make some connections. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Yong. This is amazing.
Next week, you'll hear from Deb LaFlamme, the Chief Ideapreneur at For the Love of Your Biz, and we're diving into one of my favorite topics, doing less to achieve more. Until then, come on over and join me inside my Facebook community, where I do live trainings every week, sharing real-world examples of showing up as your real self in your business using your awesome content. I'll link the group directly at today's show notes, yongpratt.com/312. Thanks for tuning in to the Amplify Your Awesome podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any tips, tricks, or secrets on building a business based around your awesome. Hey, and while you're there, leave us a rating and review. Let us know what you think of the show. And until next time, my friends, go out there today and amplify your awesome.